in society as possible. And this way, even though our bodies are acting up a little bit with the physical therapy, we can certainly try to maintain and have friends in and totally act as if, you know, there's nothing wrong, and we don't have to dwell on our illness or anything else. We can just have a great relationship with friends. And certainly over the span of time, I have not lost friends, I've gained them. And I've truthfully got to say that with this therapy now, my friends do not seem intimidated by coming around me and seeing the lack of use that I have in my emotions as far as things that I can do right now. And it has helped a lot of my other friends that are now being able to apply and get these different things available to them too. So I'm thoroughly delighted that it's available, and thank you for having such a Medicare advocacy program available here.
Anything else, Liz?
What do you tell your friends when, I mean, how do you encourage them to go? You can answer this to Julie. Learn more about what's available.
When I first talked to, actually I get a lot of calls from either new people or somebody else that might have a friend that either was just diagnosed with the illness or somebody that's long-term but heard that I do have MS. Then we just get into a discussion and I find out basically what their needs are, and if it's the fact that they too have been cut off with their insurances now with all the trouble that they're having, and find out that they were eligible under their Social Security to get Medicare, that they definitely should look into all that Medicare is providing, because it is recognizing MS as a very the fact that we do need physical therapy. It's not just a luxury. It's not a thing that's just for a couple of weeks. It's not for a month or so. It's ongoing. And in order for us to stay mobile and able to do as much as possible, we need that physical therapy. And this is what I've been explaining to my friends, that definitely look into it. And if it's available, they'll certainly try to get you on the program.
So talk about that you refer them to the Medicare Advocacy Project.
Pardon?
Talk about that you refer them to the Medicare
Yes.
Advocacy Project.
I have, in the past, I've definitely mentioned it to a couple of friends about the Medicare Advocacy Program, and a few of them that have called and applied have been available for it, and they now are delighted with it. And it's just one of those situations that you spread the word around and tell somebody else, and the word gets around and they're starting to tell other people about it. So we're just hoping before too long that there's going to be a whole bunch of us that will be able to just show you how we can reap the benefits of what this is providing for us and for our families, not just for us, but for our families and for the caretakers or the ones that we love, that they don't have to feel sorry for us, that they feel that this Medicare program is fantastic, and that the physical therapy is so important for us, that we'll just be able to get along as best we can. And I don't know how to say the rest.
That's great.
Okay.
I think it's so important that people are able to stay in their own homes as opposed to going to a nursing home. When you look at the cost of nursing homes versus the cost of staying at home, just from a practical point of view, the cost has to be a lot less when you're being maintained at home. Not to mention the emotional part of it. Anyone is going to feel so much more comfortable. Your family is intact. Your life is staying as close to normal as possible. Granted, we know that nursing homes are necessary, and at some point in many lives it will be necessary to go into a nursing home. But I just think that people would just, the benefits emotionally and physically of being able to stay in your own home, to maintain your own life as close to what you're normally accustomed to, is you just can't put a a price tag or a measurement on that type of care.
And could I just also say, the fact is, again, besides having to go to a nursing home in that case, it's also at this particular age versus a person in their 70s or 80s that have to go to a nursing home. It's a lot different because they have friends that they can communicate with. But somebody my particular age, the only ones that I would probably have anything in common with would be the nurses themselves. And it would be entirely a different atmosphere and a very depressing one, I would think, for overall. So I, again, agree about the fact that if, God willing, if the spouse is willing to have you at home and loves you enough that wants to keep you at home, that I think it's definitely much more important to be there and be with the family. Believe me, just to be surrounded by the people you love is very important. And it's bad enough, again, to have an illness of some sort, but to be without love and companionship, it makes it extra hard. So I'm just thrilled that we have this program and that it's helped us an awful lot. And I think that I wish other people would be able to benefit equally from it.
That's great. I know you were saying in the kitchen about how.
Yeah. Do you want to say it?
I think, yeah. You know, in any marriage, in any relationship, there's always a stress and strain. And when you complicate it with a physical disability, all right, you're putting just sometimes an amount of strain on a relationship, and the relationship just can't take it. And oftentimes it's not because there's a character flaw or because the marriage wasn't going to make it at any rate. Sometimes it's just more than a person is able to handle. And I know that in our case, you know, a lot of people say to me, Bob, I think you're just tremendous for putting up with that, for being able to handle that. And what they don't understand is that Judy makes it so much. It makes it very easy for me to be able to deal with what we have to deal with. However, I will say that if all of it was thrown on one person to be the caretaker, to be the spouse, to be the parent, taking care of the property, everything, that would be impossible for anybody to do, I feel. And so with the home health aides coming in, there's so much of that burden that is taken off of the relationship, and I'm able to enjoy a relationship with Judy as a spouse, and I don't have to look at her as I'm the caretaker, and I'm not the caretaker, I'm her spouse. And I think that's the difference between having a home health aide come in and not having anyone in to help out with this. Right? We're able to maintain a complete husband-wife relationship. And I don't have to come home and say, oh, now what's my next job to do? Now what do I have to do to take care? Or I have to get back because I have to do this. And just feel the weight being put on heavier and heavier. It isn't there, right? It doesn't happen.
Also talk about that you couldn't be the caretaker because you have to work, and that if you were working, when you were working, if there was no one to care for Judy, what her situation would be, laying in bed all day and come home.
Yeah.
Talk a little bit about that.
All right, now because it's necessary that I go out the door to work every day to give us a lifestyle, obviously I can't be in two places at one time. There is no way that I could just, I can do what I have to do and give Judy the care that she requires and that she rightly requires. What would our alternatives be? That I leave her in bed all day? All right. Now to me, there's a total lack of dignity. There is no way that I could just have her in bed all the time and then consider her an equal, in the marriage. An equal partner. I would always be looking at her as less and me as the overburdened husband. Right? And I think in a situation like that, it doesn't take long before you can begin to feel sorry for yourself and feel sorry for the situation. And when that happens, you just have the whole relationship deteriorating. Right? I certainly don't want Judy to spend the day in bed. What good is that for her? All right, but because that isn't the case, she is able to get out and function as a complete person. All right, it strengthens our relationship.
I want you to do your intro again. You lived in Wilmington 18 years.
Okay.
Headshot, if you want.
I'm Judy's husband, Bob DePalma. We've lived in Wilmington here for 18 years. I'm on the board of directors for the Multiple Sclerosis Society. I have been for approximately 18 years. I'm also chairman of their support services division, and I teach school in a neighboring community, 5th grade.
Great.
Great. Okay.
No, wait one second.
Fine.
Tell
Down
me
the
about
line.
You're
Harold
supposed-
Reed
It's
Limited.
what they pay me to do.
Tell me about your company.
Okay, Harold Reed Limited is a small company that I started about a year ago to try and make some extra money, so that I wouldn't have to leave home and go out and get a job 8 hours a day away from the house. The company is run right out of the house here, so I'm able to be home during the summer, and I work it in the evenings and in the afternoons when I get home from school. And basically what I do is I sell promotional and motivational items
Okay.
to various companies. Wait, I didn't give you the zip
That's
code.
okay,
Good.
that's okay. Judith, if I could have you look less profile and just more towards Julie a little, and then okay, that's a good angle.
Alright.
Okay.
To him and
All right, the commissary was started about a couple of years ago.
2.
2 years ago, thank you, because of when I was putting together Thanksgiving baskets for needy families, and it just came to the realization that after Thanksgiving and Christmas, people are still hungry, and so we decided to start a food pantry type of situation where we could provide food for people year round. And I got an awful lot of help from an awful lot of people, recruited all the right people, and they made it all easy. Okay.
Good.
okay, that's good. All right, now
Now
we
we'll
need
do the
similar nods from you, maybe some some yawns, maybe some just if you just
You have to talk, man.
nod a little, not too much. and
Judith
then
can talk
Judith can talk.
about.
And now I
About
can talk about AIM. Oh, I can talk about it? Okay.
Yeah, it's not on camera.
Oh.
I can hear.
All right, all right. AIM is the group that I started here in Wilmington a little over 6 years ago, and it started out with just 3 handicapped people and 5 volunteers, and now 6 years later we have a total of about 70 to 85 people coming a week that all types of different disabilities. Handicapped people plus elderly people, widows that had nothing to do, that wanted or that did have something to do when they were taking care of their spouses, but now wanted to get on and still help out with other people. So they come and they supply food once a week for these people to get together.
Okay, Bob, could I have you just look a little bit forward? Yeah.
Okay.
Like that, like you're hearing what she's saying, you're listening to what you're saying, but not necessarily looking at her. So,
I usually do that.
yeah, I thought that was
You're not supposed to
natural.
say that.
And, okay, a few of those, no smiles, this is serious stuff, okay.
Okay. But our handicapped group has really taken off. We are now into about maybe 10 different towns come to our town each week, and they love it so much that it's become a second family to a lot of them, and in fact to many of the people that are coming it's a first family because their own family just either can't accept their disabilities or just don't have time for them, and they just don't feel the love and warmth that they do, because at our group we want them to all, we understand what they're going through, so we all try to make everybody feel like they're part of a family, and that's what we do.
It's great, just sort of.
Do you think Pamela is up ready for us
I
tonight?
doubt it very much.
So,
Yeah, you want a lot, but you find out what the car's going to cost.
Okay.
Yeah,
it's going to cost more than you
a lot of money. Yeah,
Oh, really?
yeah.
So the wedding's off?
Oh, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Did you hear that?
absolutely. Yeah, it'll be the first major repair we've gone through with the car.
It is,
Big
All right.
bucks.
really. Mm-hmm.
Here's something.
Yeah, and then now look at Julie, both of you, just look at her, okay.
How about as if she were here?
Yeah, as if she were here.
Here, look at my piece of.
Oh, but we'd love to look
No,
at Julie.
She's over here on the stool.
In the chair, okay.
Oh, look at her foot.
She's Julie, you've shrunk. Okay. All right.
Pretend I'm Ed Bradley from 60 Minutes.
Okay.
That's a really good question.
I was thinking of Geraldo, but okay.
No, thank you.